Hey, it's me, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Hey, check out my new tag team, baby, Monty and the Pharaoh.
Hey, Jimmy, don't forget to tell them about Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Well, you know what, I would, but you already did it.
It's Monty and the Pharaoh.
The Monty and Pharaoh Show.
Monty and Pharaoh, bro.
Monty and the Pharaoh. The Monty and the Pharaoh.
You've got the future Hall of Famer, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monty and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff and we gonna rock it.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
It's Monty and the Pharaoh.
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 And Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monty and the Pharaoh?
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Hey, cut music. When you want the best in professional wrestling, Long Island, there's only one place you're going to get it, right here.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Now, that's not just the coolest, and that's not just the best. That, my friends, is just incredible.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Duh.
Hey! Nikita Koloff, the Russian Nightmare! And you're watching the #1 show on Long Island with Monty and the Pharaoh.
We're in Long.
Not Long. Ronkonkoma, New York. So a lot of the Long Island cities.
I like Long better.
Long. Yeah. Here are future Hall of Famers, one of the greatest tag teams to ever step in a pro wrestling ring. The Nasty Boys. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having us, Monty and the Pharaoh, brother.
So wait, we're in Long.
Not Long. Ronkonkoma, New York. So a lot of the Long Island cities.
I like Long better.
Long. Yeah, well, me too. But
I would like that, but when you're big and you only have a 2-incher.
Hey, you're not the only one, bro. Don't worry about it. We're on the same boat.
Speak for yourselves. Oh my God.
That's all Indian names, right?
It's all Indian names.
We're from in Pennsylvania. I was born in Hockendaka. Across the river was Catasauqua.
Yeah.
They're all Indian names.
There's nothing like living places that you can't even pronounce. Yeah.
But they
I can't even pronounce.
Something in the Indian language. The chief had long, and they just made it a thing. He was, he was having all the.
Was he part of the Fakawi tribe? You know where?
What a Fakawi,
There we go.
He was in there.
It's nothing like, how the are you guys still friends after all these years?
You guys
It makes
Well,
no
we
sense.
formed our own tribe, the Chickasaw Sucking Indian Nation. We was formed, and then we were our own.
No, but we've been friends since then. Played Little League Little League baseball. And we became friends, and he had this tooth. He only had a half a tooth, right? And I go, what happened? And he said, my brother shot it out with a BB gun. And I went, oh man, I think I'm gonna be friends with you, And then since we're 10, we've been best of friends and went through high school. I didn't go through middle school with him because I went to a Catholic school, And
you went to Catholic school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm picturing this.
I don't know. I guess the priest didn't find me attractive because nothing ever happened to me. I swear.
Maybe you heard about the 2-incher.
I was an
Pat Patterson did though, right?
I did get the magic wand, which was bend over and he whaps you with this paddle.
Oh my God.
You thought it was a paddle.
Yeah.
You're fighting all the time anyway, going to that wrestling or something. That's when we started chasing down, for some reason, the guy that we were going to look for information about wrestling is a guy eating turnbuckles and going, George Steele.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We started following around, chasing George around, driving him crazy, knocking on his door. That thing, if I got the times, George chased us, coming with the green tongue. He still have it from the show.
Yeah.
The tongue was green. Yee, and you go into his gym, and me and Knobs, running down the aisles of George Washington. He chases us down the block. Get the tired of you two.
It was Matt Millen, who, 4 Super Bowl rings, Oakland Raiders, San Francisco, Washington, told us, you guys are screwing up, and if you don't straighten up, you're probably going to be thrown in jail. He said, one of these days it's going to catch up to you.
Okay.
He says, why don't you guys try that pro wrestling? You like it, and then he's the one that really gave us a thing to say, oh, let's go after it. And then that's when we went after George, after Matt called us to his house. So we really respected Matt. He's playing for the pros, and he gave us a real good speech and got us to where we were at,
Who we met first was Gorilla Monsoon.
Okay.
So Joe McHugh was the old announcer. Remember Joe McHugh? He was a local guy, and he knew from athletics or my names and all that kind of stuff. So Joe McHugh goes, come down, and I'll introduce you to Gorilla. And so we walk in, me and him. This is maybe 82. And here Gorilla stands up with a big smile on his face. So, you guys want to get in the wrestling business? We go, yes, sir, we do. Let me give you a number. He writes down a number and gives it to us. We go, thank you so much. And they just call, and we go home. Now we go home, and we're like, are you going to call or the number? Well, let's wait till tomorrow to call the number. And we're going back and forth about the number and and who's going to call the number. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but George Steele called me.
No, wait a minute. And so we finally go, all right, Knobs gets on the phone and calls the number. It was like, I think the number was 8675302. You know the song.
He gave you Jenny's
the Jenny's
number.
8675309.
You might have gotten Tommy Two-Tone.
Right.
But we bugged George Steele so much that he said, come meet us at the Quality Inn. And he had Snuka, Paul Orndorff, and Bob Orton Jr. to stretch us.
No, Sheik.
And the Sheik at the
when
motel.
these guys walk in,
and he's working.
jump 'em.
Well, he's
we were going to get.
And I'm working, and I said, sorry, Mr. Steele, but we're both working. We love to make it, this and that. He goes, well, if you guys are serious, he said, you'll go to Vern Gagne's camp. Yeah. That'll either make you or break you up in Minnesota. And at the time, he had to write a resume and everything, and Matt was one of our references, and Brad was teaching the camp, Brad Reagans, who was an Olympic champion.
Right.
He won the bronze medal. He probably would have won the gold in 80, but they boycotted it because he beat the Russian in the World Games in 79. And the ring didn't even get set up for 3 months. We were on Olympic mats getting tossed around like feathers. He threw Leon White after Leon got out playing for the Rams, and Leon was like 380 pounds. He suplexed him right through the shower in the back, and we lived on the bottom of Brad's. So there's no way you can skip camp or everything. We were out there, and for 3 months on the Olympic mats. Then they finally, I'm going, I didn't sign up for this. I'm getting stretched every day. We're getting stretched, and then all of a sudden, every couple of days, Vern would come down, and after Brad had you totally exhausted, our grandmothers could have beat us. Now you got Vern coming in there, putting you in shooter holes, and you're going, And then all of a sudden the ring got set up. We started with 22 people, and me and him were the only ones to survive. And that's because our car broke down, and there was no way to get out of there.
You had to stay.
And we were on the bottom of Brad's house, so we had to be out there, So, but it was good training. It really was. And then from then, when we finally get the thing, we go, go through the school. We didn't jump right in the ring. Hell no. We had to drive the ring first. Then we refereed. I mean, it was another 6 months till we finally got in the ring.
What do you guys feel about nowadays when you read about these guys? And I don't want to label them, but hell, I will. Some of these guys who come across like prima donnas, they don't want to carry someone's bag. They don't want to go get them water or anything. What does that make you guys feel like after telling the stories of the price you guys paid to get into this business?
Well, it's sort of like with everything, and in life, whether it's football, baseball, you got the old school and the new school, and and you look at the guys, and you say not only it's not they're a victim of their product. Like the NFL. What do those old guys think now? What they can't use the helmet and the concussions.
You can't even touch the quarterback.
You got to, everything's got to be politically correct and all that kind of stuff. So we grew up in that old school era,
right?
Where you didn't you didn't hang out with the guys and party and do that, run this route. You weren't in the business. You know what I mean? Different times. So now these young kids they have to deal with a whole different circumstances. Now look at this coronavirus thing, and then they got the PG rating type thing where they can't no more to the head because of those concussions. Like we used to do the crazy stuff. So they're limited in all these ways, and there's no small territories for the younger guys to learn anymore to experience that kind of crap that we got to experience, you know.
And driving down the road together in the car after the match, talking over the match and that. And another thing is, a lot of the guys come in thinking, boom, I'm going to come in, I want to be the Rock right away. You got to pay your dues in anything to get better, you know what I mean? Right. And it's a good thing that Vince started the WWE Developmental so they could have, they run little shows all over Florida, so they get that. But when we were there, like we wrestled the Tennessee territory, that was 6 days a week, only 1 day off, and sometimes that wasn't off. And then, Monday was always Memphis, Tuesday was always Louisville, and Wednesday was always Evansville, and Wednesday's payoff was always $50. So, but you learned, and you learned from good guys that knew what they were doing. For a while there, when Vince bought WCW, there was nowhere for nobody else to go. And if you didn't work with him, you didn't get, the pay you were getting, because you got paid. WCW was good. It was very professional. And they were the first ones that really started the contracts with the money you're getting. And if you get hurt, they still paid you. In Vince, if you didn't wrestle, you didn't get paid. And you signed a no-money contract. Back in the day, it was for no money.
For opportunity, right?
But he told us that we would make more than what we got offered, and we did by three times the amount when WCW first offered us a contract. But the match with the Steiners at Halloween Havoc, that's the match that got us to WWE, because Hulk called me and said, Vince McMahon wants to talk to you. And I was going, yeah, you're full of shit. No, seriously. And he asked us to come up, and, that was our goal.
So speaking of that, how do you become friends with Hulk Hogan? How does that relationship even build?
He was down in Florida, and, we used to own a restaurant back in the day with our buddy Matty. And Matty actually owned the restaurant. We just came in as, like partners. But
both of you.
Yeah, both of us. But the hook there was
we were wrestling Florida Championship Wrestling.
And we were.
They remade it into a territory again, like from when Dusty was there, Mike Graham and Steve Kern. That's why we were in Florida.
Kurt took us under his wing, and being with Kurt, and he was a great worker. But he was in there in the early '80s, and Fuji took him under his wing, so he got us into the ribbing. We got blamed for a lot of stuff Kurt did, but we were always with him. So, and the Rockers got blamed too, Marty and Sean.
Once we got to a level where Brad started taking us to the matches out of the camp after we were on those mats for all that time and everything, and brutally tortured. We started going to the matches. Then we started having matches, but we had to drive the ring truck, referee, or do wrestle first match to every town. And I look back at it, and I've listened to the Sheik's story, and I never knew that here's Sheik, bodyguard to the Shaw, and an Olympic champion from Iran, and Vern has him refereeing and driving the ring truck. And then I just saw something from a while back, because I was on YouTube, but it was Larry the Axe, Kurt's dad, telling me, when Vern, I came in the Vern Gagne, but I refereed and drove the ring truck. I'm like, what? He did that too? I thought that was pretty awesome. So that was the old school, pay your dues, start from the bottom kid type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, which is now called Anderson and the Pharaoh. Seen every Thursday, produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. And we are back,
Mike,
with one half of the Nasty Boys. That's right. That's right.
What?
That's right. Mike's not
Mike
here.
Is gone.
Mike's not in the hat. Mike is not in the hat. The reinforcer has taken center stage. Who grabbed Shamrock's friends?
What?
That's all I want to know. Which one of you grabbed the Shamrock's friends?
Nobody.
Shamrock claims that Zags almost killed him, and that Knobs grabbed his friends.
No.
That's an old
old story.
Yeah.
Pass.
It
Sick
was a
of talking about it.
It was
Jeez,
just a bad.
1989.
It was a bad experience, and it ended up bad, and I think we're all past it. But they got.
I'm not sure Ken is.
Our nice friends in our business keep, our buddies stir it up.
Oh yeah, I
Let's
love
watch-
to do it. I remember in Queens, New York, approximately 4 or 5 years ago, there was an event at Citi Field called Legends of Wrestling that I happened to be a part of, and I just remember sitting in a locker room, and Bill Goldberg is giving a speech, and he says, "Guys, can you just imagine? Can you imagine this? This is a surreal moment. Knobs is running the event."
Yeah, Ric Flair said that too, but
And you did a bang-up job, man.
yeah, well, back in the day, me and Jimmy started the XWF with Greg
Yep.
the Hammer, and that was after they got rid of WCW, so there was not a group out there, and we only had the guys for 60-day contract, and we were trying to sell the tape and get it edited, and all the guys Vince got rid of, he started picking back off again. That's why I figured, when Jeff started his league, after us in the same place, Vince never went after him at once, but we had everybody. We had our announcers were Tony Schiavone and Jerry the King Lawler. We had Bobby the Brain Heenan, the Road Warriors, Snook. I mean, everybody. Vince bought WCW. There was no
Okay.
other company.
Gotcha.
And I came up with this idea, and we got it back, and we shot at Universal or Disney. I think it was Universal Studios.
Okay.
And we at the time, Vince was getting rid of all the older guys, Mr. Perfect, everybody, and out of a job. And then Hulk called me up and said, "Hey, can I wrestle?" And we put him against Mr. Perfect. Bobby the Brain was Kurt's manager, and that job right there, and the fans were still behind him, and he still had the Hulkamania. And that next year, we shot it in November, WrestleMania 18, he wrestled The Rock, and Hulkamania went running wild again, back to the red and yellow, and what a great match he had with The Rock.
What do you consider the greatest moment of your career? Is it WrestleMania 7 when you defeated the Hart Foundation at WrestleMania?
Most definitely.
Does it get any better than that?
No.
And
Most
what's your
definitely.
opinion, while I have you here, and while it may be common knowledge, I would just like to hear it from myself. What is your opinion on the man who basically gave you the biggest platform to perform off in your career, Vince McMahon? Where do you sit with Vince McMahon today?
We sit good. I mean, he's a businessman, and now, since he took it public, he's a billionaire, and, it's like anybody working for the boss is always going to be the boss. So, you take the good with the bad, but, he was always good with us, and Shane's, he used to drive with us. He roomed with us for 3 months, and the last time he was in a room with us, he was close to home. I don't know if it was Hartford, Connecticut, and he called his dad and said, "Okay, Dad, I'm going to stay with the Nasty Boys tonight." And all of a sudden, you hear this, "Yeah, okay, yeah, Dad, okay, all right. Okay, I'll see you soon." And he hung up the phone, and he said, "Dad won't let me stay with you guys no more." I said, "Why? What did we do?"
What did we do?
But we were, teaching him, because Vince made Shane do every aspect of the business. He swept, put up the ring, refereed. I mean, he did every aspect of learning the business, and on the business side too. Very good guy, one of our best friends, and we know Stephanie since she's been real small, and Triple H used to drive us with Lord Regal when we were in WCW, and when he was leaving up to WWE or
that reminds me of something.
He was going up to WWF or WWE. I don't know what it was called at the time. Me and Zach both said, "Hey, we're going to call Shawn for you," because Shawn Michaels is a good friend of ours. He roomed with us. He was our roommate on a couple different occasions growing up in the business. And we said, "Go look for Shawn," and he did. And then before you know it, the Clique was, born.
When we won the belts in L.A. at that time with the Hart Foundation, greatest thing you just mentioned to him first. But after we won it, because it had such heat, we did an interview with Marla Maples, which was Donald Trump's wife at the time. And Vince McMahon and Donald Trump are standing in front of us, and Vince goes, "Now nobody get off, you're celebrating stuff, but nobody touch Marla and stuff
No
like that.
champagne on Marla.
And that meant, to us, rip Marla apart. But I loved, Piper came in on it. I think the Mountie and Dino, we had champagne, and Marla got kissed, and Marla Maples got the champagne on her, it was spritzed all around. And I remember Vince,
Regis, Alex Trebek was on there, Marla Maples, Willie Nelson sang
God
America
Bless
the Beautiful.
Speaking of singing, do you guys remember who wrote your theme song by any chance?
Jimmy
Hart.
baby.
Jimmy Hart, J.J. McGuire, and
Jimmy Hart was our first manager.
Jimmy was part of the Gentrys.
Yeah, Jimmy told us, that's what drew me and Knobs to Sunset Strip. He told us about being in 1966 with the Yardbirds and the Doors and all the nonsense on the Sunset Strip. Can you imagine at that time?
No.
Jimmy was there.
I'd like to.
So Jimmy's always been into music and everything.
And that McGuire is Jimmy's partner. They used to write songs.
The Nasty Boys, I'm going to tell you what Jimmy Hart says. Jimmy Hart says one of the greatest times of his life of traveling with the Nasty Boys, and that picture of them in front of the Eiffel Tower in the long jackets is one of the greatest promo pictures ever taken in wrestling, period.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right about that. That is a
Jimmy
good
was
shot.
our best manager ever. He was our first manager that we ever had, and he took care of us up in the WWE or WWF at the time, and he had a stable of guys all the time. But Jimmy's the man. He still is. He's still a good friend of mine, and we know J.J. McGuire because they wrote a lot of tunes back in the day.
Yep.
For Vince.
You also did Demolition's music, the Superfly music,
and they did
Road Warriors.
Shawn Michaels.
Ask him if he.
Dogs and Sags are, their characters are one of the greatest. Their gimmick is they are the gimmick. They didn't need a gimmick because what they are is the gimmick. There was nothing like them.
No, you can say that again.
That WrestleMania one where it's all on there, it was a platinum seller. Did he produce that with Simon Cowell?
Yeah, we went over, Hulk and Jimmy and myself went over to Simon's home mansion studio, and we met him, and Hulk did some overdubs on Leader of the Gang, a remake of the Gary Glitter song. And Simon Cowell was a big, famous producer at that time as well, but we did some stuff over there when we were in England promoting the Wrestling Boot Band.
I didn't know that story until I saw A&E, the Lifetime of Simon Cowell, and what was the show, American Idol. Mm-hmm. The money he made on that, huge. But he goes, and he was telling it was the Lifetime story. He's telling a story going, yeah, well, I got my break in the business. I ran into, it was Jimmy Hart or Hulk at the something, and then they made a meeting with me with Vince McMahon. I said, I'd like to do a WrestleMania album. And they go, well, okay, so Jimmy and these guys wrote the music, and we sang the songs, and all of us were on that album cover. And he goes, yeah, and who would believe that thing went, triple platinum overseas and stuff.
And the second one was Nasty Sensation, and then we did Judy the Beauty. Oh, she's looking so right.
Yeah.
Good hearing from you,
Good
bro.
talking to you, my friend.
From you, JJ.
Bye-bye.
All right.
That's funny.
J.J. McGuire.
J.J. McGuire, ladies and gentlemen.
Composer of many
He wrote
great
all that.
songs.
Him and Jimmy Hart were in cahoots. He wrote all that music, all that stuff.
Now, me and the Nasty Boys go back a ways, too, right? We go back. Knobs and I been friends for a long time.
I met you first, and I brought Sags up, but that's when Sag wasn't doing the stuff yet. But I met you through my brother-in-law, Greg the Hammer.
Through Greg, and
Were you guys at a mutual show where you were competing? Or?
No, we actually won. Greg canceled that on something. Knobs came in, and me and Knobs and friends.
Greg
ever
canceled?
Since. Greg canceled.
I can't
Never.
imagine that. What are you talking about?
What was the signing thing everybody does? WrestleCon, right. So me and Knobs, I think Doug goes, hey, you guys want my table? So we went up and did it. Doug, he couldn't make because he was doing, I think, something Hall of Fame. Maybe that's when Hacksaw got in there. And who's writing back of us? We're signing, sitting here, is Greg, and he goes, hey, this is my buddy Drew. And I saw Drew around. He goes, hey, how you doing? Next thing here, me and Knobs are signing here. Crack! I go, what the? And we turn around, and they got a gimmick going, him and Greg. It's like talk about carnies, right? Yeah. He's charging people the marks to chop them.
And I'm chopping
I'm like, dude, I said, you're going to...
People were
You're gonna break.
How much a chop?
$50.
I don't know, but
$50 a chop.
Then he would chop them so hard. I go, you're gonna break one of these skinny guys' ribs.
We did.
I said, you're gonna be dead here
and
or
they
something.
Were doing the figure four
because
too.
and you hear like a thump, boom, and then Now time goes by. Hey man, Drew's gonna get in trouble chopping these people. He's gonna crack somebody's ribs, and there's gonna be the cops will be or something. So next thing I hear no, ow, ooh, and I turn around. I thought somebody was getting the chop again. Now it's Hammer's on the ground and got the guy in the figure 4 under charge of it. And when you go into figure 4, it's a painful son of a hold you're in.
When you're in pro wrestling, dude, just like baseball has theirs, football has theirs.
Sure.
It's a fraternity of brothers that we really look after and care for each other, and especially back coming through the 80s and 90s. And them guys we're still good friends with everybody. The Steiners, Bret Hart, Hacksaw. You just name it. I mean, and Hulk, Bill Goldberg. I mean, I still talk to everybody. And Booker T. I was just with The Godfather. We're doing a reality show, and it might be coming out next year called Tales from the Road, where we're going to go and talk to some of the legends about, I said this, Dark Side of the Ring, always downing the business and this. Hey, we had great times in the business. Right. We have no complaints at all.
Well, guys, we got to wrap it up. I want to thank the Nasty Boys very much for coming down.
Hey,
the great Andrew Anderson.
My brother.
It's great to have Drew.
Mike Monty, get in here. Mike, get in here.
Who has pulled a Dr. Seuss? Where is he? Where is he? If I summon him, there it is. There he is.